Close your eyes. Imagine this, a man lying on the ground. In the middle of a busy city, people in fine clothes walking past him. Soldiers, merchants, politicians, beautiful women, important men. And this man, he is dirty. His clothes are torn. His hair is wild. He smells like the street. He has no house, no money, no shoes, no job, no family. He is lying in the sun, smiling. People point at him. They whisper. They laugh. They call him names. They call him a dog. And he says, "Thank you. That man is me. My name is Diogenes, and yes, I am a dog. I chose to be one, on purpose, not a pet dog, not a lapdog that sits on a rich woman's knee and eats cake. No, a street dog, a wild dog, a dog that sleeps where it wants, eats what it finds, barks at liars, and bites anyone who deserves it. Why? Because a dog is free. A dog does not worry about what other dogs think of him. A dog does not buy things he does not need. A dog does not pretend to be happy. A dog does not lie. Can you say the same about yourself? Tonight I will tell you my story. It is not a story about a king or a conqueror. It is not a story about building an empire or writing great laws. It is a story about throwing things away, one by one, until there is nothing left but the truth and a little bit of sunlight. I was not always a dog. Once I was a rich man's son. Hard to believe, I know. Look at me now. But it is true. I was born in a city called Sinope, a busy port on the Black Sea. Ships came and went. Gold came and went, and my father made sure he got a piece of every coin that passed through. His name was Hicesius. He was a banker. He made coins for the city. He stamped them. He weighed them. He stored them. He lent them. He counted them. Every day, every night. Counting, counting, counting. I grew up in a nice house. I wore nice clothes. I ate nice food. I had teachers who taught me music and poetry and how to wrestle. A normal rich boy in a normal rich life. But even then, something bothered me. Something I could not name. I watched my father work. I watched him take a plain piece of metal, just a flat, dull circle of silver, and press a stamp onto it. Suddenly, that plain metal was worth something. People wanted it. People fought over it. People lied for it. People killed for it. But it was still just metal. The stamp did not change what it was. It only changed what people believed it was. I thought about that a lot, even as a boy. The difference between what something is and what people say it is, that thought was like a small crack in a wall, tiny, almost invisible. But it was there, and cracks, as you know, only get bigger. Then the crack broke wide open. Something happened in my father's bank. I will not go into the details, because even after all these years, I'm not sure what the full truth is. The short version: someone accused my father of making fake coins, changing the metal, making them lighter, putting the city's stamp on bad silver. Was it true? Maybe, maybe not. My father was a banker. Bankers do what bankers do. But here's the strange part. There is an old story, and I like this version better, that says I went to the temple of Apollo at Delphi. I asked the god for advice. What should I do with my life? And the god said 2 words: change the currency. I thought he meant real coins, so I went home and did something to the money, and I got caught, and I got thrown out. But later, much later, I understood what the god really meant. He did not mean coins. He meant everything. Change the currency. Change what people think is valuable. Change what people chase. Change what people worship. Change the whole system of what matters and what does not. The coins were fake, but so was everything else. Honor. Fake. a stamp on a plain man to make others bow to him. Wealth fake, a pile of metal that people agree to call important. Fame fake, a noise that other people make about you that disappears the moment they stop talking. Everything I had been taught to value was just a stamp on plain metal. They threw me out of Sinope, they took my money, they took my house, they took my citizenship, and I walked away with nothing. But for the first time in my life, I felt light. I came to Athens, the greatest city in Greece, the city of thinkers, the city of Plato and Aristotle and 100 other men who loved the sound of their own voices. I had nothing, no money, no friends, no plan. I was hungry, I was cold, I was alone. And then I saw the mouse, a small brown mouse running across the floor of the marketplace. It found an olive pit that someone had thrown away. It ate it. It found a puddle of rainwater near a drain. It drank. It found a crack in a wall. It went inside to sleep. Nobody gave the mouse permission. Nobody paid the mouse. Nobody told the mouse where to eat or drink or sleep. The mouse just lived. And I looked around at the humans in the marketplace. The rich ones worried about losing their money. The poor ones worried about not having enough. The politicians worried about their reputation. The soldiers worried about the next war. Every single one of them was afraid of something. Every single one of them was chasing something. Every single one of them was a slave to something they did not need. But the mouse was free, I laughed. Right there in the marketplace. I laughed so hard that people stared at me. I said out loud, "Look at that mouse. It does not need a bed. It does not need a plate. It does not need a house or a wife or a career or a reputation. It just needs to eat, drink, and sleep, and it finds all three without asking anyone for help." That mouse is smarter than every person in this city. And from that day on, I decided I would live like the mouse. Better yet, I would live like a dog, because a dog is braver than a mouse. A dog fights back. A dog barks at danger. A dog is loyal to truth and savage to lies. I would become the dog of Athens. So, what does a dog need? Not much. I got rid of everything. One thing at a time. First, the house. I did not need a house. A dog does not need a house. I found a large clay jar, the kind they use to store grain, lying on its side near the marketplace. I crawled inside. It was dark. It was hard. It smelled like old wheat. It was perfect. That jar became my home. People later called it a barrel, a wooden barrel. It was not. It was a clay jar. But barrel sounds better in stories, so I will not argue next. The clothes. I did not need fine robes. I kept one cloak, just one thin, rough, full of holes. I wore it during the day. I slept under it at night. In summer, it was too hot. In winter, it was too cold. I did not care. A dog does not complain about the weather. I kept a stick for walking, for protection, for pointing at things I wanted to insult. And I kept a small wooden bowl for eating, for drinking. That was it. A jar, a cloak, a stick, a bowl. Everything else was gone. People asked me, "Are you not cold? Are you not hungry? Are you not ashamed?" Cold sometimes. But cold does not kill you as fast as worry does. Hungry sometimes. But there is always someone willing to share a piece of bread with a man who makes them laugh. Ashamed of what? I eat in the street, but eating is not shameful. So why is eating in the street shameful? I sleep on the ground, but sleeping is not shameful. So why is sleeping on the ground shameful? You see, shame is just another fake coin. Someone stamped it and told you it was real. But it is not. It is just metal. I threw that coin away too.
Now let me tell you about Plato. Plato was the most famous philosopher in Athens. He had a school called the Academy. He wore beautiful robes. He ate at rich men's tables.
He talked about a perfect world that existed somewhere beyond the sky, where everything was pure and eternal and flawless. He was very smart, I will give him that. But he was also very full of himself. One day, Plato gave a lecture, a famous lecture. He stood in front of his students and said, "I have found the definition of a human being. A human is a featherless, two-legged animal." His students clapped. They nodded, they wrote it down. "Wonderful," they said. "So clear, so elegant." The next day, I walked into Plato's school. I was carrying something under my cloak, something that was making noise. I stood in front of Plato and his students. I reached under my cloak, and I pulled out a chicken, a live chicken. With all its feathers plucked off, I held up this naked, shivering, ugly bird and said, "Here, I have found Plato's human being." The students gasped. Plato turned red, because I was right. A plucked chicken is a featherless, two-legged animal, but it is not a human. So Plato's clever definition was worthless. People said I was rude, disrespectful, crude, maybe, but I made my point. Philosophy should not be a game of fancy words. It should not be about building pretty definitions in a pretty school while the real world suffers outside. Philosophy should grab you by the shoulders and shake you awake, and sometimes a naked chicken says more than 1,000 beautiful sentences. One morning I did something strange, even for me. I lit a lantern, a small oil lantern, in the middle of the day. Bright, clear, sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. And I walked through the marketplace holding my lantern up high, looking at people's faces one by one. Slowly, carefully, people stopped and stared. They always did. But this time they were confused. "Diogenes," they said, "what are you doing? It is daytime. Why do you have a lantern?" I looked at them with a very serious face, and I said, "I'm looking for an honest man." They laughed. Some of them, others did not laugh. Others looked away because they knew what I meant in a city full of politicians who lied to win votes. In a city full of merchants who cheated their customers. In a city full of priests who said one thing and did another. In a city full of rich men who pretended to care about the poor. In a city full of philosophers who talked about virtue but never practiced it. An honest man was harder to find than a star in the daytime. That is why I needed the lantern. I walked through that marketplace for hours. I looked at every face. Every single one. I did not find what I was looking for. Some people thought it was a joke. It was not. Well, it was. But it was also the saddest thing I ever did because I really was looking. And I really did not find one. Honesty. Such a simple thing. Just say what you mean, do what you say. Be what you are. But in a civilization built on fake coins, honesty is the rarest treasure of all. And then he came, the most powerful man in the world, Alexander, the king of Macedonia, the conqueror of Greece, the man who was about to cross the sea and crush the Persian Empire. He was 20 years old, maybe 21, young, strong, beautiful, wearing purple robes and gold armor, surrounded by generals and servants and soldiers. Everyone in Corinth ran to meet him. Philosophers, poets, politicians, they all rushed to bow, to flatter, to beg for his attention. Everyone except me. I was lying on the ground outside the city in a quiet spot, enjoying the sun. Alexander found me there. He stood above me, tall. His shadow fell across my body, blocking the warmth. He said, "I am Alexander, the great king." I did not stand up. I did not bow. I looked up at him and said, "I'm Diogenes, the dog." He smiled. I will give him credit for that. Most kings would have been angry. He smiled. He said, "I can give you anything you want. Name it. Gold, land, a palace, an army, anything. And I said, yes, there's one thing. Could you please move a little to the side? You're blocking my sunlight. Silence, his generals stared. His servants held their breath. Nobody talks to Alexander like that. Nobody. But Alexander did not punish me. He stood there for a long moment thinking, and then he turned to his men and said, "If I were not Alexander, I would want to be Diogenes. Do you understand what happened in that moment? The most powerful man in the world, the man who could give me everything, realized that I already had the one thing he could never give me, freedom. He could offer me gold. But I did not want gold. He could offer me a palace, but I preferred my jar. He could offer me an army, but I had no enemies. The only thing I wanted was sunlight, and sunlight is free. Alexander conquered the world, but he could not conquer himself. He was a slave to his ambition, his anger, his hunger for more. I had nothing, and I was free. Who was the real king that day?" People asked me many questions every day in the marketplace, on the street, in front of temples. Some asked because they were curious. Some asked because they wanted to make fun of me. Some asked because they were secretly looking for the same thing I had found. One man asked me, "Diogenes, what is the most dangerous animal in the world?" I said, "That depends. Among wild animals, the most dangerous is the tyrant. Among tame animals, the most dangerous is the flatterer." He was confused, so I explained. A tyrant uses force. He chains your body, he takes your land. He tells you what to do and kills you if you refuse. That is dangerous, but at least you know he is your enemy. You can see the chains. A flatterer is worse. A flatterer uses lies. He tells you how wonderful you are, how smart, how handsome, how right. He agrees with everything you say. He laughs at all your jokes. He makes you feel powerful. And slowly, without you noticing, he chains your mind. You start to believe him. You stop questioning yourself. You stop growing. You become soft, lazy, blind. The tyrant makes you a slave with a sword. The flatterer makes you a slave with a smile. Which is worse? I will take the sword. At least I can see it coming. Another man asked me, "Why do you beg? Are you not embarrassed to ask strangers for food?" I said, "I'm not begging. I'm teaching. When I hold out my hand and ask for bread, I'm giving you a chance to be generous. If you give, you become a little better. If you refuse, you learn something about yourself. Either way, I am the teacher and you are the student. I'm just using a bowl instead of a book." He walked away confused. Most people did. I liked that. Confusion is the first step toward thinking. I told you I was free, but even free dogs get caught sometimes. I was traveling by sea when pirates captured our ship. They took everything and everyone, including me. They brought me to a slave market. They put me on the block. A dirty old man in a torn cloak standing next to young, strong slaves. The auctioneer shouted, "What can you do, old man? What skills do you have?" I looked at the crowd, rich men, looking for servants, looking for workers, looking for someone to do what they were too lazy to do themselves. And I said in a loud, clear voice, "I can rule men. That is my skill." The crowd laughed. A slave who says he can rule. I pointed at a well-dressed man in the front row. He was wearing expensive robes. Gold rings on his fingers, a fat belly, a worried face. I said, "Sell me to that man. He looks like he needs a master." More laughter. But the man, his name was Xeniades, was not laughing. He was thinking there was something in my eyes, I suppose. Something that told him this dirty old slave was not joking. He bought me. He took me to his home in Corinth, and he asked me, "What do you want me to do with you?" I said, "Let me teach your children." I will teach them to be strong, not strong in the body, strong in the mind. I will teach them to need less, to fear less, to see the world clearly, he agreed. And so the slave became the teacher. The man in chains became the freest person in the house, because freedom is not about where you are, it is about who you are. You can be free in a prison, you can be a slave in a palace. It all depends on what you need, and if you need nothing, nobody can take anything from you. I thought I had gotten rid of everything. The house, the money, the clothes, the reputation, the fear. I was down to 4 things: a jar, a cloak, a stick, and a bowl. But then, one afternoon, I saw a boy, a small boy, dirty face, bare feet. He was kneeling by a stream, scooping water with his cupped hands and drinking, just his hands. No cup, no bowl, nothing. He drank. He wiped his mouth. He ran away laughing. I looked down at my bowl. My wooden bowl, the last thing I owned, the thing I ate from, drank from, the thing I thought I could not live without, and I realized even this was too much. A child just showed me that I still had one unnecessary thing. I threw the bowl into the stream, gone. People think freedom is about having more choices. A bigger house gives you more choices, more money gives you more choices, more power gives you more choices, but that is not freedom. That is a bigger cage. Real freedom goes the other way. It is about needing less, wanting less, carrying less. Everything you own is a chain, a small chain, maybe a comfortable chain, a pretty chain, but a chain. The boy with his cupped hands was freer than any king, because his hands were always with him. He could never lose them. He could never have them stolen. He never had to worry about them. After I threw the bowl away, I had 3 things left: a jar, a cloak, a stick, and the sunlight. The sunlight was always free. I'm old now, very old, almost 90. My legs are slow, my eyes are dim, my bones ache when the wind turns cold, but I'm still here, still lying in the sun, still barking at liars, still biting when I need to. People ask me, Diogenes, are you not afraid of death? Why would I be afraid? Death is just the last thing I throw away, the last fake coin I refuse to accept. They ask me, how do you want to be buried? I say, do not bury me. Throw my body outside the city walls. Let the dogs eat it. Let the birds have their share. I came from nature. I will go back to nature. No ceremony, no grave, no monument, no speeches. Just return me to the earth, like a bone a dog has finished chewing. They say, but that is not dignified. I say, dignity is another fake coin, they say. But what about your legacy, your reputation, your name? I say, when I am dead, I will not know my name. When I am dead, I will not hear what people say about me. When I am dead, it will not matter if they remember me or forget me. And if it does not matter after I die, why should it matter now? Here's what I want you to remember tonight. Not my name, not my stories, not my jokes, just this. You're carrying too much, too many worries, too many things, too many opinions that belong to other people, too many fears about what might happen tomorrow, too many regrets about what happened yesterday. Put some of it down. You do not need all of it. I promise you, start with the smallest thing. That thing in your mind that keeps you up at night, that fear that whispers in your ear that need to impress someone who does not matter, let it go. Just one thing tonight, and tomorrow, let go of one more. Keep going, keep letting go, until one day you're lying in the sun with nothing but the warmth on your face and you realize, this is enough, this was always enough. You do not need to live in a barrel. You do not need to throw away your bowl. You do not need to be a dog. You just need to remember the sunlight is free. And it always has been. Now close your eyes. The sun is going down. The marketplace is getting quiet. The voices are fading. The city is falling asleep. And somewhere, in the last warm light of the evening, an old dog curls up on the ground, rests his head on his paws, and closes his eyes. He is not afraid. He is not hungry. He is not cold. He is free. Good night.